Rick Tocchet speaks out on the team and apologizes to fans for what they saw in Thursday night's blowout loss versus the Islanders. And we look at where exactly the Canucks go from here as the shining stars are starting to get outweighed by some pretty bad tendencies. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any updates on the Canucks as we head into what seems like a must-win game versus the Chicago Blackhawks. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is Tocchet speaks out and apologizes. So after the loss on Thursday versus the Islanders, Tocchet got on the podium and he took all the lashings. He said, "Don't ask me about individual players today. No offense, I got to apologize to the fans. We're not playing good enough at home. It's on me. Guys played light tonight. I thought we were ready to go. We weren't. It's on me. I got to get this team to play harder in the first period. Spurts here and there, but not enough from a lot of guys. So we got to go with practice tomorrow and get back to the drawing board. So don't ask about individual players. I'm not going to answer that. You guys saw it. Thanks." So he kept it pretty simple. He wasn't going to throw anybody under the bus as you would want your coach to do. But in a time where we're seeing some trade talks get spewed out about Niels Höglander and going to get someone like Elias Pettersson or another solid defenseman. So we're seeing some trade talks escalate in Vancouver, and Tocchet is just trying to avoid all that noise altogether and just say, hey, the team played bad. I coached bad. I got out coached. And there's a lot of other things at play. And he did go into the game saying, "We didn't move our feet. We talked about hitting the weak side. We didn't. The forwards were skating backwards instead of knifing through. It's not the defense or the forwards. It's the collection of five." I give the Islanders credit. They're a well-coached team tonight. Patrik outcoached me tonight. And as much as we would want to see Tocchet come up here and say something crazy, it is great to see him just being humble in defeat. We know that we didn't go out and show our best effort last night, and it definitely showed on almost every aspect of the game. And Tocchet just reiterated again, saying it's a frustrating situation because the fans are paying $200, $300, $400, $500 a ticket and we're throwing some duds. So I apologize to the fans again. We've got to correct this. I know some of you guys were at the game last night, so I apologize to you guys as well from Rick Tocchet, just extending that apology to you guys because you guys did not deserve to see a showing like that. And with the loss last night, this brings the Canucks home record to 2-3-3 in Rogers Arena. Last season, the Canucks were dominant at home, finishing with 27-9-5 record on the year, not reaching the 6-loss mark, which they hit last night until their 23rd home game on January 24th against the St. Louis Blues, when Dakota Joshua played against his former team. So yes, the home thing is something that Vancouver needs to get going. We are not winning home games, and we were dominating home games last season, like the snippet said, and just like we saw. We were getting out in front early. Yes, we scored the first goal tonight. Finally, we're getting back to doing that, but we weren't able to sustain it after that. And yes, we're not going to ignore that the fact that that first goal was scored by Mark's boy, Jonathan Lekkerimaki. He was texting me through the game and just saying how excited he was when it happened. His phone he was going nuts. He just sent me a bunch of messages. So I was very happy for him. But after that, and Dakota Joshua being back, there was no other bright spots for the game, and it was very bad to watch. It would be nice to see them get something going against Chicago. We know we beat down on Chicago last time as a bounce-back game. Hopefully they can be our punching bag once again so that we can just go back and get a dominant win again, because it is seeming like those dominant wins are starting to feel few and far between. When last season we were going out, we were wiping teams. We were wiping the floor. We iced with teams. We were just going out, scoring 3 goals before they can even score 1, staying 2 steps ahead of teams when they were few steps behind. So that's something that Vancouver has to get back to. I know we're hampered down by injuries. We don't have Brock Boeser. That's a big one. But we have some guys that are stepping up. We got Dakota Joshua getting back, so he's going to get better in his next game for sure. He did play a pretty solid game. I did like seeing him and Kiefer Sherwood on that same pairing. But there's a lot of things with this game that Vancouver needs to fix, and I like that Tocchet just says it starts with the coaching. It starts with me. It starts at the top. That's what you want out of a leader. When you win, they take none of the credit. When you lose, they take all of the blame. That's what you want from a leader. We've seen that from Tocchet, from Quinn Hughes, from JT Miller, both the latter of which who we also saw in post-game interviews, and they just were not happy. They kept it simple. We knew that they weren't going to be happy heading into this one because it was a horrible result on the ice, but with those guys in particular, they just hate to lose more than anything, and you definitely saw it in their attitudes in post-game. But what did you guys think of the game overall? What did you guys think about Tocchet's comments? And was there any players that you thought were some passengers like he mentioned last season that have carried over into this season? Love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments. But that's going to take us to our second topic of the day, which is where do we go from here? And post-game Tocchet did say on how to move forward. He said, I don't know. I have no idea. That's the answer I've got to get. we've got to change pregame skates or do something different because we cannot play light. Another emphasis that he's just expressing completely. We're too light of a team. We cannot guess where the puck goes. You don't have to kill people. You don't have to ram guys through the boards. Even though once in a while I wouldn't mind it, I'd rather a guy just stay in front of a guy at net front. There's too many scramble goals. It's got to stop. Maybe he's talking about Kiefer Sherwood here, but he has just been a wrecking ball leading the league in hits, and the hits that he's leaving aren't leading to bad things happening, but maybe some other ones are where guys are just throwing their body out. We saw Pettersson throw a hit where it's nice to see Petey get physical, but when he's throwing a hit and it's leaving into just an open ice puck that just trails out there and a guy just breaks free, that's a problem. I'm not saying it's entirely Petey and like for this situation, but like last playoffs, we saw Tyler Myers do that where he got a revenge hit. It led to a breakaway goal. So we've seen things in the past where Vancouver goes and chooses the body instead of the puck, and it leads to a puck in the net against Vancouver, and that's something that we don't want to have, but we still want to have a physical identity. And when you look at the game stats, on paper, it doesn't look like this game was as much of a blow as it was. Vancouver, unless you look at the power play and the penalty minutes, but Vancouver stayed on top of the hits. They were blocking shots. They had a lot of giveaways, but they had a decent amount of takeaways as well. But again, where you see the big difference in the game was the shots on net. Vancouver generated no offense whatsoever in this game, really, until the third period when it was already too late. It was just garbage time, and the Islanders were just trying to play prevent hockey, if you will, where the Canucks were just rallying, trying to get a rally going, and couldn't get much going as far as the third period was concerned. It was the only signs of life aside from the first shot of the game. And when looking at the lines, some things worked, some things didn't work. You did see a change up there where Joshua and Sherwood were on the ice for a point, on the ice together for a point. But again, there was some other things that do need to be fixed. I know that third line wasn't the greatest. That fourth line was probably the worst one. I think Atu Ratu is probably going to get sent back down to Abbotsford within the next few days, and we're going to see someone like Baines get called up. And I think Höglander is not making a great case for why he should be on the trade block, even though he's gone to Tocchet and says he knows he needs to play better. He knows he needs to perform for Tocchet, and he wants to prove that. He knows that he's probably on a little bit of thin ice right now, and his ice time is a sign of that. So he knows that he needs to show up and show out when he's given those opportunities and just asking for those opportunities from Tocchet. Hopefully he gets them before they do ship him out, or maybe he does go out and he proves it why he should stay and we do end up keeping him. But what do you guys think down below as far as what we saw from these guys playing tonight? And what did you guys think of the power play unit? We saw some things get shaken up. We saw Lekkerimäki on that power play unit. We didn't create any opportunities. If our penalty kill was as good as our power play unit, we'd be sitting pretty solid right now. But what do you guys think we should do about this power play unit? How do you guys get it revitalized with some life? We'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments. That's going to take us into our final topic of the day, which is comment of the day. And this is coming from ndavy7777 saying PD, DPD, 3PD, as far as yesterday's video where we talked about the possibility of going out and getting Marcus Pettersson from the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I thought this comment was pretty funny. It would be pretty hilarious if we were at one point able to see Elias Pettersson as a forward, Elias Pettersson as the defenseman, and Marcus Pettersson as the 3PD. I just thought this was a hilarious comment, and it just made my day a bit brighter after a horrible Canucks loss. So that was nice. Thank you very much for that. We always appreciate the comments you guys leave and all the support. But what do you guys think about this next game heading into playing the Chicago Blackhawks? Do you think we go out and get a dominant win, or is it going to be a bit closer than we initially think? Love to hear you guys have to say down in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of the updates when they drop. But I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.